The Trump tax reforms will result in lower revenues for GovGuam. Governor Calvo says GovGuam will need to tighten its belt by $47.9 million for this fiscal year, something the governor says could even mean cuts to things like personnel. Governor Eddie Calvo spoke about the effects of the Trump tax reforms on the Rick Nauta show on News Talk K57 this morning. The governor says GovGuam will need to cut an estimated total of $47.9 million from its budget almost immediately, and he's asked GovGuam agencies to submit a list of areas where they think they can cut costs.
The first thing starts in every one of you folks, every one of your agencies. There's going to be this cut. It's a pro rata basis. Tell me what the impacts are, what you folks are going to do to cut, focusing on your core service, keeping them in line, but looking at the services that may have to be cut, and the also what it means in terms of personnel cuts.
These cuts are necessary because Congress passed and President Trump signed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, a new tax reform law spearheaded by the president to cut taxes for individuals and corporations. These tax cuts mean less money for GovGuam. The Bureau of Budget and Management Research is estimating that this will cost GovGuam $47.9 million for this fiscal year, which is already 4 months in. Next fiscal year, it's estimated to cost GovGuam $66.1 million in revenues.
It may mean in certain types of agencies, we may just have to shut down certain agencies that are not critical in terms of providing stability to this community.
GovGuam agencies will be given pro rata cuts as early as February. The only other answer is to find ways to generate new revenue.
It may mean having an adjustment on areas that we can adjust, and those are the territorial taxes.
This means potentially increasing taxes like the business privilege tax, also known as the gross receipts tax, or property taxes. The governor says we could also look at taxing internet sales with companies like Amazon, for example. The governor says these are the types of decisions we'll have to make as long as we mirror the federal tax laws.
The federal government has been bipolar, has been schizophrenic, and we're now seeing it in the actions that it's been doing, even with the shutdown over the past few days. Unfortunately, as a territory of the United States, we got to follow what what federal law tells us.
The governor says this makes a good argument for delinking from the federal tax code.
Certain territories have done it, where they've delinked, and what they've done is delinked it and then delinked, but not trying to be overly creative, but delinked, but based it on the tax code, the U.S. tax code of a certain year.
Sure.
To provide stability.
The problem with delinking is it takes time, something the governor says we do not have on our side right now.
It means going through the whole congressional, the process. And that process could take years.
Yeah.
As you've seen how Congress acts on much of what GUAM's needs are.
To see a list of the GovGuam agencies and their current appropriations for this fiscal year, you can log on to thepacificnewscenter.com.